The Labour leader Keir Starmer's links with the Central Intelligence Agency has massively angered the left wing of the Labour Party, and in this video we're going to explain exactly what's going on. Oh, the political left continue to eat themselves. It's absolutely hilarious. So, you've got the left wing of the Labour Party and Corbynistas being angry at the Blairites and the Starmerists, whatever he is. I don't think he stands for anything. But it's about the secret entity and secret committee that had welcomed Keir Starmer into it. And this is obviously Starmer with Woody Johnson, the US ambassador, and Pompeo, who was obviously part of Trump's cabinet. And when Keir Starmer was actually part of Jeremy Corbyn's shadow cabinet as the shadow Brexit secretary, Keir Starmer joined this group, the Trilateral Commission. Now, they've had a number of meetings. One of them is about special global meeting on capitalism in transition. And you had a lot of elitist people part of this organization on a regular basis. There's a massive membership list of all the usual suspects. And we're going to talk about a couple of them in this video. It's fascinating, by the way, because Jeremy Corbyn's team had no idea. No one had any idea because Keir Starmer kept it a secret from everybody. And even when his team were approached recently, they didn't comment. This was all obviously exposed in a very specific way, and we're going to explain how we know this information. So, the Trilateral Commission was founded in 1973 by, guess who? Yep, David Rockefeller. The Commission has long been an important venue for all the ideas and relationships and different sectors and geographies, right? Now, the reality of the situation is, look at this document, 9th of June, 1980. Now, the whole thing was founded, as we said, in 1973 by Rockefeller as a networking group for elites from the US, Europe, and Japan. Rockefeller, as you can see in that letter, was close to the leadership of the CIA at the time. Now the whole thing's come out, and we can see more information about this. Now, this is all thanks to Declassified. Declassified discovered this information, and they told us that obviously Starmer joined the Trilateral Commission between 2017 and 18 when he was part of Corbyn's team. He was one of two serving MPs, British MPs, and I'm going to explain who the other one is. Oh yeah. Starmer spoke at the group's London event in 2017 alongside a former head of MI5 and GCHQ. The former CIA director in 2019 was talking about doing all they can to stop Jeremy Corbyn from getting elected, and Keir Starmer was attending those events and meetings. That's kind of fascinating. And now we have the Corbynistas accusing Keir Starmer of plotting against his own former leader, which is kind of fair because clearly that was what he was doing, and he completely undermined Jeremy Corbyn and went against him eventually when Corbyn went down. Now, this is the membership list that we have thanks to Declassified. Keir Starmer, member of British Parliament, Shadow Secretary of State for exiting the European Union. And you've got so many other people as well who are part of this organization. Now, there's another name that we haven't mentioned yet from British Parliament, and that is Rory Stewart, who was the Minister of State at the Department for International Development, a member of British Parliament. So obviously Rory Stewart is now a former member in public service on this list. And the fascinating thing about Rory Stewart is that not only is a failed London Mayor candidate and is a failed Tory leadership candidate and is a failed politician, the problem with that is that you have the Corbynistas attacking Starmer, and then there's also the angle about Rory Stewart. But first, let's talk about Jeremy Corbyn's spokesman, James Schneider, who actually goes on GB News quite a lot. He told Declassified that Keir Starmer didn't inform us that he was joining the Trilateral Commission while serving in the shadow cabinet. If he had, we would have put a stop to it, like we did when he tried to take an inappropriate outside job with City law firm while he was a shadow Brexit secretary. Well, that was a little bit weird as well. Yeah, I mean, I'm defending James Schneider, a Corbynista. Wow. Schneider said membership of the Trilateral Commission, a body dedicated to promoting corporate power, was plainly incompatible with Labour's then stated policies of redistributing wealth and power from the few to the many. And so, yeah, and it was asked, why do you think Keir Starmer was hiding the whole thing? He said, well, dishonesty is Keir Starmer's hallmark. Oof, yeah, that hurts, but it's true. I mean, Keir Starmer is a bit of a liar. Now, back to Rory Stewart. This is quite interesting because in 2019, I don't know if you guys remember, Daily Telegraph reported that Rory Stewart actually served 7 years as an MI6 officer before he moved into politics. Rory Stewart's father was a senior figure in MI6 as well, but publicly what we knew of Rory Stewart was that he was simply in the armed forces, and he did a tour of Afghanistan and other places. That was obviously on the public CV, but obviously the report from Daily Telegraph said we think that he was actually an MI6 agent, according to one of the sources from the agency, and former sources, whatever. So that came out about Rory Stewart, and so it's not a surprise that someone like Rory Stewart would be part of the Trilateral Commission. Now, you can see that David Petros, who was the director of CIA between 2011 and 2012, he was also part of the Trilateral Committee with Keir Starmer. They served together on this commission until recently, when Keir Starmer officially left the membership of the organization. Now, going back to Starmer's role, this is what the Americans were saying, who were part of this group, about Corbyn. This is quite interesting because when Corbyn was becoming party leader in 2015, Mike Pompeo privately said, well, it could be that Mr. Corbyn manages to run the gauntlet to get elected. It's possible. You should know that we, as in America, will not wait for him to do those things to begin to push back. We will do our level best. It's too risky and too important and too hard once it's already happened, if Corbyn goes against the globalist agenda, which is kind of fascinating because obviously there are certain people with the agenda in CIA and those places, or State Department in America, would be against anything that challenges the existing world order, the globalist mindset. But the funny thing is, when it's being challenged by the likes of Jeremy Corbyn, Jeremy Corbyn, or Corbynism, has also now been infiltrated by a new version of globalism. It's more the liberal leftist globalism, and not all of them obviously, a lot of them are communists, but the people who've been promoting Corbynism, they also want no borders, internationalism in the name of cooperation, all the nations should be the same, and we should accept all the refugees and migrants from the Middle East. So the current world order of globalism being challenged by the likes of Jeremy Corbyn or Bernie Sanders, it's not really a challenge because they also want their own version of globalism. It's not really being challenged by a bunch of isolationist nationalists because they see the nationalists as big of a threat. That's why you can never see, well, you haven't seen the rise of them yet. I mean, in France, things are changing. Marine Le Pen, she's seen a bit of a rise in her popularity, and that could be the first. Because if France goes nationalist or patriotic, you could see some changes. The domino effect could affect the UK, US, and other places. We'll see what happens, and we'll see what happens with Donald Trump next year. Let me know what you think. I'm Tousi, and we are the media.